love a good post. I love good posts, and sometimes I'll profile and present them. Now, I'm not sure who. Forgive me because I'm not sure who Billy Fulton is. I'm looking at the picture. It's a newer profile. I'm not sure who that is. So if I know you, forgive me. But I've read this several times, and there's absolutely nothing in this that isn't absolutely correct. So I like to present them when we get good posts like this one. Regarding Donnell, billyfulton721 left this wonderful post, and I looked it over several times. And again, forgive me if I'm not sure who you are, because it's very obvious that you are well versed in this case. And okay, talking about Donnell. She also claims that she was there to witness a lot of things, specifically such things as like the officer telling Darlie her DNA. Excuse me. Specifically, such things like the officer telling Darlie her fingernails were scraped for DNA at the hospital. Well, if we just think about that statement alone, why would the officer have to tell her that? Was she not there when her fingernails were being scraped? She says she witnessed the nurse fold up a washcloth that Darlie had been wiped clean with, so it can be preserved as evidence. Where'd they use that evidence at? And there would be nothing wrong. They didn't suspect Darlie that night. Darlie wasn't a suspect that night. So she wasn't even a suspect at that time. And where would they have used that at anyway? Like I said, she wasn't a suspect, so they wouldn't be preserving evidence. She didn't start getting accused. James Cron showed up at the scene at about 6:30 a.m., 4 or so hours after. And even then, he didn't accuse her. He just felt like there was no intruder. And so Darlie was not a suspect, and they believed that she was attacked by a man. So they wouldn't be trying to preserve things as evidence. Or Donnell. Wouldn't it be nice if the nurse saved that rag and they went and preserved it as evidence and found an intruder's DNA or sperm or something on her? I mean, you got to think. She witnessed a conversation with her mother had with Dr. Santos about how he had to worry about his career and yada yada. No. I saw the post that she put up where she said, well, my mom told me that. I didn't see where she said she was there. If you have that, if there is a clip, because I don't go to her channel, right? Sometimes I'll see a clip or whatever that somebody else has put in our private groups, but I do not go to her channel. So if you see that she witnessed Santos saying that, if you see that, please send that along. Dr. Alejandro Santos still has a practice, and I have his address in Texas, and maybe I'll send it along to him. Here's the thing. Here's the thing about that. That would mean that I can't see Darlie Key going up to Dr. Santos and asking anything about the case. Because for one, that would be intimidation of a witness, which is a felony. If she went to ask him anything about the case or pressured him at all about the case. I do not believe that Dr. Santos told her, yeah, I got to worry about my career and yada yada. Because just him saying that, if she had proof of that, that could sway the case. I know that never happened, and he wouldn't say that. I have to worry about my career and yada yada. What she says, what I saw her post was that her mom told her that she talked to one of the medical examiners, and he said he had to be very careful with what he said because he still wants to work in this town. That's bullshit. This guy is educated. He's not going to talk to the mother of a defendant that he testified against. When did she get time with him? You ever try to get a hold of a fucking medical examiner or a surgeon? I don't believe it. But yet it doesn't know who gave what exam. Yeah, Patterson saying in a preliminary hearing what exam had been given to Darlie is not Patterson himself that gave the exam, and that's about the dumbest stretch of far area. Yeah, her 20,000 followers to believe that a detective was allowed into a hospital. Yeah, to give a visual rape exam to anybody. He's a fucking detective. He's not a doctor. I mean, excuse me, Mr. Retier, I need you to lay down and put your legs up. Come on, man. Are you fucking dumb? Danelle has been a nurse for 19 years. Has she ever seen a police officer or a detective perform any medical procedure on a patient? No. It's as if she wants to be believed simply because she's a family member. Well, let me tell you. She said something to me that was very, very telling. She said, this happened to me. I was 13, blah, 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 and I didn't know much about it, and blah, blah, blah. And up until just now, I just started reading the transcripts over the last year, right? So that means that from age 13 on to 40-ish, whatever she is now, I know she's still young, that she just basically believed that her sister was innocent because that was her sister. She didn't read the facts. Just as she's been arguing for years about the legal definition of the word superficial. Yeah, she tried that shit on me and has made claims Darlie's, platysma muscle was cut through, which makes her wound not superficial. Yeah, she said they never used the word superficial in the medical records, and yes, they did, and they used the word superficial all through the trial. They were minor wounds. You can't make them be severe wounds, Danelle. You can't make them be that. She was not in any danger of dying that night, unless on the way to Baylor, an ambulance crashed into the tree. No. So let me see here. I'm going to keep on going because this is good. This sounds like a post I would leave. Yeah, she's talking about the directional, right? She said, well, no, that means the direction. But if you look at Dilwan's testimony, the word superficial was brought up by the defense. And, it was brought up in a directional way. And Dilwan said, you're using that word wrong. You're not using it in the correct way. And he said what it means. I'll go back and get that. I think I put it up before, but Danelle wants superficial to mean, fucking death. Okay, let's see here. Yeah, the fact is it was not cut through means that the carotid sheath could not have been nicked. I do believe that it was nicked. I do believe. But, you might be meaning something different here. She has said 1,000,000 times her sister almost bled to death. Wrong. Testimony says the bleeding had stopped before she ever arrived at the hospital, and when the doctor touched the cut with his hand, it squirted a little blood. The squirt concerned him because the squirting blood means there could have been a significant damage to the artery, which is absolutely correct because what they did was exploratory surgery. They were looking to see what kind of damage there was there. And, he did the surgery and didn't find anything concerning. They also argued forever that the jury had never seen pictures of the awful bruises. Well, I tell you, that's really interesting because they got that from Barb Davis, right? And I'm sure you know this. Sure, I'm not talking to an idiot. They got that from Barb Davis, all right? And Barb Davis said that her reason for changing her mind was based on those pictures. That's it. But if you read Precious Angels, there's so much more evidence in there that she's never, Barb, before she died, she never debunked. And the fact that she said she never saw those pictures, if you watch Matt Orchard, right? If you watch Matt Orchard, Crime and Society, the newest Darlie Routier video that's out there, very well done. One of the things I learned is that he actually showed the part in the book where she wrote about those bruises. She wrote about them. And then I got to looking a little bit more at the pictures in her picture section of her book. I've got a copy of it right in front of me, right here. Those pictures that were taken at the Rowlett Police Department, 4 days after she got out of Baylor, they were marked as the 52 series exhibits. And there's a picture of the 52 exhibit series of Darlie just standing there with the gray stuff on right before they did her reaching her arm out, but you can see the tag. It says the 52 series. And Barb Davis had that in her book. And she said she never saw them. All right? Yeah, Danelle said that. Yeah, well, but she, at first Barb Davis said they never saw them. And then on the last defense, she goes, yeah, they saw them. But they were mixed in there. She goes, they sure did, but they were mixed in with 1,000 other pieces of evidence. And they were cold and they were tired and they weren't going to look at them. The reason that Barb Davis changed her mind it has nothing to do with evidence. It has nothing to do with Chris Brown. It has nothing to do with the deep throat at the DA's office. It has to do with when Cirilla turned to her on the first episode and said, you could be sued for that. And Barb Davis says, I'm not bothered. She goes, good, sue me. Good. You can hear him. And then the next episode, a year later, Barb Davis is sitting there like she's meditating. She changed her mind based on the pictures. And that's it. But if you read her book, there's so much more evidence in there that she's never said. She did say that she gave all the proceeds of the book to Darlie's defense. And she promised that before, that she would write a book on her innocence. And she never did. She passed away. Everybody knows that she was a convicted drug dealer, and her son was killed by, I think it's North Ridgeville police in Texas, because they were coming to raid Barb Davis's home, and he pulled a gun and they killed him. But I just wanted to put this post out here, and a big old hello, Billy Fulton. My email is BryanSt.John@gmail.com. I like it when people think like I do. This looks like a post that I would write, when somebody's exact. So I went and looked at the channel. It's a newer channel. But I just wanted to be sure that it got profile because you're on it. You've got it. You see it the same way I do. And there's not very many people that see things exactly like I do in this case. Yeah. Very good. Very well done.